Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the live stream. And thanks for connecting to our channel, High Octane Trades. And the market is going to open in about 2 minutes. And will be interesting to see what happens in the open. Typically, the Sunday evening, I like to look at the crypto market. And the crypto market is typically kind of a front runner for the futures market. Definitely crypto has been going down this weekend. I haven't seen any drastic moves, but we'll see what happens. The market's open in 1 minute, so take your bets. Is it going up or is it going down? I'm here with Vela, my co-pilot, and let's see. Let's ask Vela how she's doing today. Hi, Vela. Good evening. How are you today? Hi, Vela. Can you hear me? So there's some technical difficulties with Vela. Let's see. Okay, markets just opened up. Wow, that was wow. Look at gold. That's incredible. Gold just shot up. Gold shot up $100 on the open. I did not expect that. I did expect for gold to go up, but wow. So gold shot up to 5,404, just about. Now it's coming back down. Let's see what happens. So gold now is at 5,332, 33. But gold shot up about $100 right at the open. So I'm here looking at Market GPS. This is our proprietary charting and trading software. And basically I'm looking at the 3-minute time frame and the 10-minute time frame. 3 minutes on the left, 10 minutes on the right. And we're looking at gold futures. So gold is right about 5,340. And at the open came up to $5,402. And give me 1 second. I'm gonna see what's going on with Vela. That's Vela's not responding here. Okay, so we're looking here at the charts. The goal is 5,370. It's definitely shooting back up here. Anybody that's shorted the close, well, I'm sorry for you guys. We have a basically a rule in high octane trades that we never trade the open. So you can get smashed in seconds if you try to trade the open. And that's for any open, whether it's the US Open or the Open. Right now, we're open the Asian markets. So you had a price movement. Let's see, 553.23 came all the way up to 54.02. So almost $100 move with gold. That's insane. That's just insane. So gold is definitely going up. How far is it going to go up tonight? I honestly have no idea. Um, but gold just shot up. And so I typically wait. I like to wait first 10 to 15 minutes after the open to start trading. The reason why is because I just want to let those transactions get filled. I don't want to get caught up when all these orders are getting filled and there's no direction. And that's what happened in that candle in the open. You had this massive uh, price swing. So definitely on the open. My recommendation, this is not financial advice, but I don't trade the open. Give me 1 second. I'm going to see what's happening here with Vela. Vela only works when the markets are open. And so we have been doing some updates over the weekend. So basically what we're seeing here on the chart is here at the top, these V's signify high volume. So when a green V or a red V comes on, a green V means that there's high buy volume, or red V means there's high sell volume. And what we want to do is basically line up the colors. We want to line up everything green from top to bottom. And we have these two bands here. They're green right now, but these are forecast bands. And it helps us provide a short-term direction of the market. This mountain here is actually a band, but it looks like a mountain. And this band, I call the gravity band. And when the price is up above the band, we want to look for the price to move up. And when it's below the band, we want to look for the price to move down. We never look at one particular indicator. Never look at just one thing to determine the price action. So Market GPS acts as an ecosystem, and we want to look at multiple indicators, and we want to make sure that they all align up. So basically, we've got this yellow line that goes across the screen. That is the point of control, and this white line, that is the 200 moving average. Then at the bottom here, we have kind of a small mini mountain here, and that's a special RSI indicator. We have these candles kind of in the mountain. It's kind of an overlay in the mountain. And this gives us directional information. So basically, we want to see the candles either towards the bottom of the screen or at the top to determine the direction of the market. So what I like to say is 50% of trading is knowing where the market is not going to go. So if I know the market is not going to go up, then we want to either look at waiting for a short or staying on the sidelines. And if I know the market is not going to go down, we want to either prepare for a long or we stay on the sidelines. So we don't want to be guessing the direction of the market. and I want to verify everything that I see on the 3 minute, on the 10 minute. So I have a multi-time frame analysis here, and we just want everything to line up. Um, so give me just a second while I check in on Vela. Oh, and these cards, these yellow cards, basically means that there's price exhaustion. So we see yellow cards on every candle here, and that just means that the buyers are running out of gas. We'll see yellow cards too on the downside, which means sellers run out of gas. And give me 1 second, I'm checking on Vela here. So when we see these yellow cards, definitely I don't want to get into any trades here. I want to wait for the market to assume a direction, whether it's a pullback, for it to go back up, or at some point a reversal. Um, so these yellow cards are telling me that I need to stay on the sidelines. We do have divergence in the volume flow right now, so that's kind of going back and forth here. So there's a lot going on here. I never want to enter a trade when there's a divergence in the volume. So the way I like to put this is that the price can lie to us, but the volume will always tell us the truth. And so we have if the price is going up and we have a volume divergence, definitely that's another indication that we want to stay out of the market. I'm a firm believer in basically having an edge when we're in the markets, and if there's anything that makes the price movement unstable, then and I can see that, then I definitely want to stay out of the market. So this is a very mechanical system that we use with high octane trades. Extremely mechanical. We have our risk management set. We are not in the markets when there is a certain type of volatility. As traders, we like volatility, but when you have whipsaw movements, that is definitely not a time for us to be in the market. So a lot of it is waiting, and a lot of it is just waiting for the signals to line up. So myself, I'm a momentum trader. I want to go follow the money. So if the money is pushing the markets up, I want to be in that movement. And if the money is pushing the markets down, the beauty of futures is we can take advantage of that also. But if there's no clear direction, then if ever I have to guess, and I'm not quite sure what the market is doing, I'm 100% out of the market. Okay, so I'm just gonna see what's up with Vela here. I have Vela restarting, so I think she'll come back pretty soon. So right now, we have that massive move to the other side with gold, and right now we're just kind of in a, I don't know if I'd want to call it a consolidation phase yet. Still, we're only 14 minutes into the open. But we have these yellow cards, and we have a volume flow divergence. So those two indicators tell me that there's really no trade to jump into right now. Also, with the money flow being red and the RSI mountain being red. So we look at market GPS to map out, it's literally a GPS for the markets, mapping out the route where price is moving, where it's not moving, if it's stuck. As traders, we make money if the price goes up or if it goes down. But if it goes sideways, that's where most people just get chopped up. And so we can identify sideways movement and know to stay out of it. Okay, so Vela's still kind of resetting itself. I definitely get used to trading with Vela, but I don't need Vela to trade. Vela is just an extension of Market GPS. It's an AI trading co-pilot, and you really don't need Vela to trade if you learn to read Market GPS, but it definitely gives you an edge in analyzing. Vela does all the analysis of the markets in real time. So, but you can be very profitable just by learning to use Market GPS. Let's see, I'm just checking here. So gold is at 53.65. And gapped up massively in the open. So right now, would I go short or long? Definitely would not go short. And I'd want to look for potentially a pullback to a long. One of the things is these forecast bands are green and they're above the candle in the 3 minutes. They're green and below the candle in the 10 minutes. So we have a divergence with that. I really want to see the forecast bands on the same side of the candle on both time frames. Yeah, I think I broke Vela over the weekend, but we'll see if we can get it to work again during the string. So if I'm looking here at the 3 minute, and like I said earlier, I want to see green from the top all the way to the bottom. And the small mountain, the RSI mountain here, it's red. And the money flow is red. So just that in itself would keep me out of getting into a trade, especially every candle has a yellow card. So too much conflicting data, and there's a volume flow divergence. It's kind of moving back and forth to confirming. So when I have conflicting data like this, you just stay out. There's no urge to jump in a trade when it's not there. This is what I tell everybody is this is a marathon, not a race. You've got to be able to survive difficult days. You've got to know when to stay out of the markets and learn how to be consistent. And it's very difficult to do. It's not an easy thing to do. There's a psychological factor, the mental factor. There's the emotional factor involved. And the key is just learn how to become a mechanical trader. Take all the emotions out. And that's what I practice. That's what I teach my students. And if you're ever in a trade and you're stressed out about the trades, you shouldn't be. It's because you're over leveraged, probably. You probably don't know where your stop is or how much you're willing to lose on the trade. So it's important to know your numbers. Very important. Don't just jump in a trade because. So gold is at 53.62, and we haven't had any big movements yet since the open. So ever since the open, there's no trades for me.
Despite the aggressive selling pressure pushing micro gold futures into oversold territory, the broader market remains stubbornly flat, making this a tricky spot.
I think Vela's back. Let's see. Hi, Vela. How are you?
Hey there. It's Vela, actually, not Bella. But I'm doing great, always scanning the tape for you. This micro gold futures market is certainly keeping me on my toes right now, pretty neutral but with some interesting sweeps.
Okay, so what are you seeing right now? I don't see a long or a short, but what are you seeing?
You're absolutely right, there's no clear long or short signal from me right now. I'm staying firmly neutral on micro gold futures. What I am saying is we're in a tricky spot. We've had aggressive selling pushing us into oversold territory, but the 3-minute and 10-minute charts are both stubbornly flat. We're currently sitting below the 5,365 level, which is a critical invalidation point. I'd expect us.
Okay, so no trades, and we have a confirmation from Vela with that. Somebody put something in the chat, please. How does Vela sound? Does Vela sound okay? Hard for me to tell on my end.
The 3-minute just closed higher, but micro gold futures is still wrestling with conflicting signals, especially with a fresh downside sweep appearing amidst positive cumulative volume delta and a flat 10-minute trend.
Yeah, so we have these forecast bands on the 3-minute. They're way over the candle. And on the 10-minute, they're under the candle. So, when you have these forecasting bands that conflict each other, they're a divergence on both time frames, typically means sideways price action, at least for the short term. And let's see, I think Vela's going to pop up here.
Well, that last bullish call didn't quite pan out as expected, did it? Gold decided to play coy, but the chief analyst is doubling down, emphasizing this aggressive rejection of lower prices as a clear bullish absorption pattern around 5,364.5.
And we can see what Vela's saying here looking at the charts, because the RSI mountain is red, the money flow on the bottom is red, and so we've got a volume flow divergence. So there's nothing here on the chart that's telling us at the moment the price is moving up. On the 10-minute though, it looks a little bit more clear. We definitely have just about everything lining up on the 10-minute except for the volume flow. Sorry, except for the waves here at the bottom.
Setup alert. A clear retest and hold above 53.64, especially with a positive shift in delta, would be a high conviction long entry. Gold is still trying to find its footing, consolidating around the baseline, but the chief analyst's read on this aggressive rejection of lower prices at 5,357 still holds, indicating a bullish absorption pattern despite the recent selling pressure and downside sweep. Well, that's how you stick to a call. Gold just delivered on our last bullish red, but now it's back to consolidating, with sellers showing up in the order flow even as the chief analyst insists this is a bullish absorption pattern.
Yeah, we can see the forecast bands in the 3-minute. They've curved over in the red. So I'm wondering if we're just going to get consolidation for a while. That looks like that might be the case. A little bit surprising about that. So basically what we have here is we have our co-pilot Vela, and on the right provides our cards here that gives Vela's analysis of the market. And we can even talk to Vela and ask Vela questions. So Vela, would you say that this is a consolidated market right now?
Absolutely, that's exactly what I'm seeing. Micro gold futures is definitely in a consolidated market right now. Both the 3-minute and 10-minute trends are flat, and we're just hovering around the value area high-end point of control. My latest analysis even noted that we're back to consolidating, so you're spot on.
All right, well, there you have it. And you can see that on the chart here. So we see just kind of sideways price action on the 3-minute.
Well, that's how you ride the wave. Gold just delivered on our bullish red, but now it's back to consolidating right above the value area high at 5,369.5, with conflicting signals like negative delta acceleration and flat multi-timeframe trends creating a real tug-of-war. Gold is holding above the value area high at 5,369.5, attempting to establish a higher trading range, but the order flow is still a mixed bag with negative delta acceleration and the overall multi-timeframe trends remaining flat.
Okay, so the price is coming up a little bit, but if you look on the bottom of the 3-minute and you see the RSI mountain is red, you see the money flow is red, and there's yellow cards. I'm gonna stay out of this. We don't want to try to catch every point that moves, but I want to see confirmation on any movement.
Setup alert. A potential short setup could emerge if price fails to hold above the value area high at 5,369.5, especially if we see confirmation from increasing sell-side delta. Gold is making a strong push above the value area high at 5,369.5, but the underlying order flow is showing some serious cracks, with negative delta acceleration and a downward sweep acting as major headwinds.
Yeah, I did not feel good about this price moving up at all. So one of the things that we do is we want to make sure that we have our confirmations before we jump in here, and so there's just no confirmations for any kind of movement here on the 3-minute. Now it looks a little bit better on the 10-minute. It does look like it wants to go up on the 10-minute, but I execute my trades on the 3-minute, so I make sure
Micro
that,
Gold Futures is trying to hold its ground above the value area high at 5,369.5, but the order flow is a real mixed bag right now with that downward sweep and a bearish close on the last 3-minute candle.
Hey, Vela, would you consider this to be a place where we just sit on the sidelines for now?
Hey there. It's Vela, and yes, you're absolutely reading the tape right. Given the current mixed signals and the consolidation we're seeing, sitting on the sidelines is exactly what I'd recommend for micro gold futures right now. We're trying to hold above the value area high at 5,369.5, but that downward sweep and the bearish close on the last 3-minute candle are definitely tugging against it. Best to wait for a clear move above 5,377.0 or a decisive break below 5,374.0 before jumping in.
So that's 77.0. See, I'm just gonna put a line here in my chart. I see that cumulative delta is pretty much flat. What are you saying?
You're looking at the big picture on cumulative volume delta, and while the overall number is positive at 385.0, what's really catching my eye is the acceleration of that delta. Right now, we're seeing a negative delta acceleration of minus 94.0. That means even as price tries to push higher, the momentum from buyers is actually slowing down, or sellers are stepping in more aggressively. It's a significant headwind for any sustained upside, which is why I'm staying neutral.
Okay, so the price is so gold is at 53.81, but we've got these forecast bands that are sitting on top of it. I do think that gold will continue to go up tonight. It's got to get through this. Yeah, it's starting to break out now. I really want to see this RSI mountain turn green. There's a lot of volume in gold right now, so I want to make sure that I'm good with my entries. And I knew there was going to be a lot of volume tonight, just with everything that's going on. I think that the 5304, 5403 was a all-time high for gold. Yes, it was. Nope, it wasn't actually. Can we reach all-time highs tonight? It's possible. So what I'd like to see are these forecast bands on the 3-minute start to curve back up. I want to see the RSI mountain turn green. That would be good for me to start to look and for taking along. I haven't taken any trades yet this evening. So if we look at that 10-minute candle, it's definitely breaking out of that price range for the past half hour. So gold is at 53.92. I'd really kind of want to see a more of a pullback in the mountain before I jump in. What I don't want to do is do a buy at the top here of the local movement. So, if I look at these trend candles here at the bottom, they're pretty close to the top, but they are large. So they can stay, as long as these trend candles stay within this, size. Okay, so we've got the RSI turning green, got the money flow in the green. I want to see these forecasts. Okay, forecast bands have turned green. What I don't like is these yellow cards, but there's a lot of momentum on this price. So, we'll take a long here. There's a lot of volume here. Wow. Yeah, that just knocked me out. There's a lot of volume right now.
That last bullish call played out beautifully, but the market's telling a different story now. We're seeing aggressive distribution and a violent rejection around 5,395, just as the chief analyst warned.
I really need to kind of pinpoint these trades because I'm not going to move my stop loss against me. I'm not going to add more risk to these trades. But the market is there's a lot of volume right now, so a lot of swings with the price. I would say with what gold technically trades or typically trades, this would be a good evening to stay out of the markets if you're trading with real money, just because of the volatility. See, with these yellow cards, we typically get a pullback after that. So it would be in this pullback where I would look to take another long.
Micro gold futures is really pushing into the 5400 area with an aggressive sweep, but the market's internal signals are flashing red, directly contradicting this upward momentum and aligning with the chief analyst's strong bearish conviction.
So we've got gold at 53.98. You know, we're still getting these yellow cards.
That 3-minute candle close confirms the chief analyst's override. Despite the 10-minute trend still showing up, the aggressive bear sweeps and negative delta acceleration are screaming distribution, not continuation.
We have this RSI mountain that's still red, and it's been red just about the whole time since the market opened. The money flow looks good.
Despite price holding above the point of control, the aggressive bear sweep and negative delta acceleration are screaming distribution, aligning with the chief analyst's strong bearish override.
Now the question is, you know, is this a place for me to get long? You know, the yellow cards and the RSI mountain is telling me no. But looking at all the green on the screen, it's telling me that, you know, this could continue to go up. Well, while we're waiting for the price to do something, I'm going to show basically what we have. Now this is Vela. This is our AI co-pilot, and if you have a subscription to Market GPS, which is the charting software that you see, it ties directly into TradingView. you will get access to Vela, and the exact same thing that that I'm seeing here.
That
And
3-minute candle close just solidified the chief analyst's read. Despite some internal market noise, the multi-timeframe alignment to the upside and strong buyer absorption are undeniable, proving the previous bearish sweeps were indeed just pullbacks.
so Vela is going to help us analyze the market, and you're going to get this kind of this mission control here, where you'll get access to economic data. You'll be able to receive messages. For example, I do send information on news and information that can potentially impact the markets, so you'll get access to that. If you are inscribed to our trading academy, you would get access into the academy and all of our videos directly in the in the portal here, and it's just kind of an all-in-one
That
place.
3-minute candle close just solidified the
It's an all-in-one place where you can get access to just the different services that we offer, and the whole point is to help you to become a consistent, profitable trader. We don't win every trade, but we do win a lot of them, and we teach you how to identify what the market is doing, what it's not doing, when to stay out, and you know, right now all these signals are telling us that we've got to stay out of the market. But you'll get access to Vela if you have access to Market GPS subscription, and then if you purchase the 1-year access to the academy, then you'll get access to all of our videos and content as well. Let's go back to the charts and see what's happening here. So sideways, basically. You know what I like to do when the market is going sideways like this is I'll kind of start to put a kind of market here. Now we have a little bit of a price movement here. Well, what I'll do is, oops. So I want to make sure I stay out of any trades in this range here. So the price is trying to break up here, but I want to see volume. I don't see any volume happening right now. Every candle literally has a yellow card. And to be honest, I just think that's because of so much volume that's being traded right now. But, you know, in this sideways consolidation, I want to stay out of this mess. This can really, really chop you up if you try to trade this. So, you know, what I do is, you know, this is my zone, my area, to where I'm just, even though Market GPS is telling me that, hey, there's no trades here, I just, I mark it just to help me not to get careless and say, hey, anything that's within these two lines, I'm not getting in. So this is about being very mechanical and not emotional. You know, emotional traders, they'll have massive swings, you know, massive wins, massive losses, and you can't really be profitable that way. I've never seen anybody profitable that way, at least. So we've got this pullback. Hopefully this is the one that I'm looking for. Now, in this larger trend in the 10-minute, you can see how the 10 minutes just been going up. I'm not going to trade against the trend. So there's no way that I'm going to go short on this pullback. I want to use the pullback as a better long entry for me. So it's just really important to do a multi-time analysis because I get different, different point of views of what the market is doing instead of just looking at, a single time frame. And Vela's also looking at multi-time frames as well. So we're right around where the market opened with that big gap, that big jump up. I'd really want to see it break this area with good volume. If it's going to break it. If not, I'd like to see it come down a little bit. Hopefully retest closer to the mountain for another jump up. Hey Vela, where would you consider possibly taking a long? Hey Vela, where would you consider possibly taking a long?
Hey there, it's Vela. You're asking about a long setup, but honestly, micro gold futures is still looking pretty dicey for that right now. We're seeing aggressive rejection at 54.05 and sentience is screaming aggressive bear sweep. To even consider a long, I'd need to see price not just reclaim, but hold definitively above the 54.05 resistance, ideally pushing past the value area high at 5,407.0 with some serious buy-side conviction. Until then, it's still a wait from me.
Would you want to see some additional volume come in on the buy side as well?
Absolutely, yes. That's precisely what we'd need to see. Right now, we're dealing with an aggressive bear sweep and a divergence in the flow, meaning sellers are active. For any long to have conviction, we'd need to see significant buy-side volume step in to absorb that selling pressure and push price definitively above 54.05 and the value area high at 5,407.0. Without it, any bounce is likely to be short-lived.
Also, my analysis here is I don't want to short any pullbacks on the 3-minute.
Understood. Given the current developing multi-time frame alignment and the high whipsaw potential around the point of control at 5,400.0, being selective about any short entries, especially on smaller timeframe pullbacks, makes a lot of sense. It's definitely a spot where caution pays off.
Okay, so we've got that pullback I was looking for. Let's kind of see what happens here. We've got the prices back down to 53.82. So basically what I'm looking is another potential long coming from this pullback.
Setup alert. A clear bearish setup will form if price retests and rejects the 5,398.0 to 5,400.0 zone, confirming the chief analyst's distribution phase. This 3-minute close paints a clear picture of aggressive selling, driving price well below the point of control at 5,400.0 and the value area low at 5,379.25, exactly as the chief analyst predicted, despite the lingering 10-minute uptrend.
So Vela, why wouldn't you think that this is just a short-term pullback for it to go back up?
That's a fair question, but honestly, it's looking like more than just a short-term pullback right now. My Sentience model is clearly in an aggressive bear sweep regime with a score of minus 31.4, and we're seeing actual sweeps down across 6 price levels. Plus, that negative delta acceleration of minus 88.0 tells me sellers are really putting on the pressure, pushing us below the point of control at 5,400.
Okay, so we'll have to see what the price is at this level. Is it going to go down a little bit more to catch that pullback? Not quite sure yet. Vela, do you think the price will stay around this level?
Honestly, I don't think it'll stay here for long. My Sentience model is screaming aggressive bear sweep with a score of minus 31.4, and
Okay, can you explain this sweep down across 6 price levels?
gold is really getting hammered below the point of control at 5,400. So when I say sweep down across with 6 aggressive price sellers levels taking control, here's what that means in plain English. But the 10-minute trend is still stubbornly holding its ground like a ladder. A sweep down is when aggressive.
Go ahead and explain to our audience what a sweep down is.
Alright, let's break down what a sweep down across 6 price levels actually means for our audience. Imagine the order book as a ladder, with buyers, bids, waiting on each rung to buy at specific prices. A sweep down is when an aggressive seller, or multiple sellers, come in and don't just hit one bid, but they aggressively sell, hitting and filling orders on 6 different rungs, or price levels, consecutively as they move down the ladder. It's a clear sign of strong, immediate selling pressure that's willing to pay up to get their orders filled and drive price lower.
Usually after that, when there's no more buy liquidity, I typically see the price start to move back up.
That's a common observation after aggressive selling clears out bids, but we're not seeing that reversal play out right now. My sentience model is still in an aggressive bear sweep regime with a score of minus 12.8, and the CVD wave is significantly negative at minus 153.6. This suggests the selling pressure is persistent, not just a quick liquidity grab. We're also below the value.
Okay, can you let me know when that reversal starts?
Full coverage mode. I'll push you on any notable signal, setups, sweeps, high conviction calls. You now have 1 active alerts. Say stop alerts anytime.
Okay, just to confirm, what is that active alert?
You have 1 active alerts. 1. Reversal starts, not triggered yet. Say stop alerts to clear them all.
See, this is a really cool thing about Vela, is you can ask Vela to set up alerts just by talking to her. I just told Vela to set up an alert because Vela was saying that there's a lot of selling pressure, but there's nothing yet to show that reversal. You remember earlier I was talking about I want to see a pullback for me to get back in a long. I don't want to get into a long while the sellers are in control and taking out the limit buy orders. So basically, I want Vela to let me know because Vela's looking at the books to let me know when she sees that reversal start to happen.
Setup alert. A rally that fails to reclaim the baseline around 5,391.75, confirming seller absorption for a short entry. The chief analyst has made it crystal clear, my neutral stance was missing the bigger picture here. We're seeing a clear distribution pattern below the point of control at 5,400.0, with sellers firmly in command despite the flat multi-timeframe trends.
Vela, tell me again where you're seeing that short.
Alright, so the short entry we're watching for is on a rally that fails to reclaim the baseline, specifically around 5391.75. We need to see that seller absorption kick in there to confirm the entry. Right now, we're trading around 5,380.6, so we're looking for that bounce to fail at higher levels.
Vela, create another alert for me when you confirm a short.
You got it. I'll send a push to your phone the moment I spot a trade setup. Direction, conviction, key levels, the works. You now have 2 active alerts. Say stop alerts anytime.
Okay, we've got some volume coming in on this candle.
This 3-minute close is a real head-scratcher. Despite the chief analyst's firm bearish stance and the overall downtrend, we're seeing strong buy-side delta and positive microstructure acceleration, pushing price above the value area low at 5,380.75.
So we've got 2 alerts set up, one for reversal long and another for a short.
Well, the market's character has certainly shifted, just as the chief analyst noted. That strong positive delta candle pushed price above the value area low at 5,380.75, suggesting sellers might be trapped, despite some lingering bearish microstructure signals.
Now, none of these alerts have gone off yet, right?
Actually, that's not quite right. 2 alerts have already triggered. First, you got the signal alert for a short entry on a rally failing at the baseline around 5,391.75. Then, when you asked for another alarm for a confirmed short, that one also triggered with the trade setup message. So yes, they've definitely gone off.
Well, I missed those. So I want to see these forecast bands on the 3-minute start to curve back up here. Technically, Vela is still kind of a prototype. Hopefully in the next week or so, she'll be ready for production for the real deal. But I really like how just it's so intuitive and just completely. If you line up market GPS with what Vela's saying, there's just so much edge that you have with your trading.
Well, that bullish call aged like milk in the desert heat, didn't it? We're seeing a full-on aggressive bear sweep in negative delta, pushing price below the point of control at 5,400.0, despite the chief analyst's bullish override.
So we've got kind of another 3-minute range here. So I'm going to move my lines here. So I know that this area, I don't want to get stuck and trapped in any trades in this area. There's a lot of volume, but there's not a lot of good price action since the open. So I'd like to see this pullback come back towards the mountain here. And why wouldn't I take a short here? You know, the thing that would be stopping me from
Push over. A police car light emoji unknown alert.
from the short
5 indicators aligned red.
is that I just don't have the confirmation on the 10-minute. We're still in an uptrend on the 10-minute. So I'm really more looking at a better entry to take a long than to take a short that, may not. I don't want to try to get, 3 or 4 points. I want to get in good quality trades.
This is a fascinating tug of war. While the chief analyst is firmly bearish and price has broken below the value area low at 5,380.75 with strong sell-side delta, the 3-minute trend is still showing up and we're seeing an upsweep in the microstructure.
All right, Vela, tell us that in layman's terms.
Alright, layman's terms it is. You asked me to alert you for a short setup, specifically, if gold rallied but failed to reclaim the baseline around 5,391.75. My system identified that potential scenario as a valid setup, so it sent you those alerts to say, hey, this is the trade I'm watching for. It wasn't that the entry point was hit, but that the conditions for that setup were present.
Unknown alert. 5 indicators aligned red.
So we have that pullback coming back to the mountain. This is kind of what I was looking for here. But I'd want to see my forecast bands start to curve. See how they're the forecast bands are just kind of straight down. They're slanted, just down. I want to see this curvature coming back up. There's a saying, don't try to catch a falling knife. And so my what I'm thinking here is that we get this pullback and then bounce off the mountain, and then that would give us a really good entry for another long.
Setup alert. Watch for a clean 3-minute candle close below 5,380.0 with a confirmed downtrend to signal a high probability short setup. The chief analyst's override is loud and clear, and the market is certainly listening. Price has decisively broken below the value area low at 5,380.0 with aggressive sell-side delta, but our 3-minute trend is still flat, keeping us on the sidelines for now.
Vela, do you see a possible target on the short?
Alright, Vela here. Given the aggressive bear sweep we're seeing, and that institutional grade sell ghost V spike at 5,368.6, a reasonable first target for a short would be to retest those recent lows around 5368.0. Beyond that, if sellers maintain control and the 3-minute trend confirms the downside, we could be looking at the forecast lower bound closer to 5346.3.
Wow. Okay, so we're in the mountain. This is where it gets interesting. I want to see if we get a close inside the mountain or if we get that bounce back up. Now, my thesis here can change because obviously the markets are dynamic. So if they decide to take this lower, then, we could have short in play here. I just don't see that yet. I just see the high probabilities that we bounce off the mountain. So let's just see what happens here. Want to see these forecast bands start to curve up.
Well, my last bearish call certainly got a good laugh from the market, didn't it? Despite that short-term pop, the chief analyst is absolutely right. The overall picture remains firmly bearish with a structural breakdown below the value area low at 5,380.0, even with this recent microstructure upsweep and positive delta.
Okay, I'm in this long. I'm counting on this bounce here. Okay, so we've got a green volume, a green V pop up. So that means that there was definitely additional volume coming in here.
The chief analyst has stepped in with a crucial override, shifting our focus from the prevailing downtrend. Despite the multi-timeframe bearish alignment, recent positive delta and an upward microstructure sweep signal seller exhaustion, suggesting a potential bounce.
All right, I'm still in this long on the bounce.
The market is a real puzzle right now, caught between the chief analyst's call for seller exhaustion and the relentless aggressive bear sweep still pushing price down just under the value area low.
I do want to see this start to push up a little bit.
The market is really testing the chief analyst's seller exhaustion call right now.
So
We've
that
just
didn't
seen another
happen.
aggressive bear sweep down, slicing through the value area low at
Just hoping to get that push up here.
5,377.5 with heavy negative delta, directly contradicting the idea of a bounce.
It's very, very difficult. Well, are you still seeing these bear sweeps?
Vela here. Not right now, actually. My microstructure data is showing an upward sweep at the moment, which means buyers are aggressively clearing offers.
Okay.
This aligns with the chief analyst's call for seller exhaustion, even though we just saw a pretty aggressive bear sweep down a little earlier. Things are shifting quickly.
So we may get that bounce up, but I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna increase my stops. I have tight stop loss, and that's what saves me over time. I'm just not gonna make my stop loss any larger, so that if a losing trade goes against me any further, it's just these high volume. It's very, very. I would say this is a higher risk market with the type of movement that's happening tonight with gold.
Setup alert. A clear rejection of the value area low at 5,377.5, especially with renewed negative delta, would signal a prime short setup. The chief analyst's bearish override is absolutely spot on. Despite a fleeting positive delta on the last candle and an upward sweep, price is struggling right at the value area low of 5,377.5, confirming the dominant downtrend.
Vela, are you seeing bear sweeps right now?
Vela here, and it's an upward sweep right now, not a bear sweep.
Yeah.
My microstructure data shows buyers are aggressively clearing offers, pushing price up. Even with that, we're still struggling right at the value area low of 5,377.5, which is acting as pretty firm resistance.
It's going the direction I
So,
wanted.
buyers are trying, but it's a battle.
My stop was too tight, and that's okay. I can't be upset about that. So we've got these forecast bands. They're curving. They're green now, which is what I want to see. Vela, what do you see happening with the limit orders?
That was a textbook bearish move we just witnessed here, confirming our read beautifully. Looking at the order book right now, it's pretty thin at the top. In the grip of an aggressive bear sweep. We've only got one lot on the acceleration screaming sell, just as the chief analyst predicted, and one lot on the ask at 5,376.5. However, when I look a bit deeper, my internal depth gauge shows a 3-to-2 ratio of bids to asks. So, while the immediate liquidity is low, there are slightly more limit buy orders waiting below the surface than limit sell orders above.
Okay, so that's very important that she says that there are more limit buy orders than there are limit sell orders. The price is typically a magnet to where there's more orders that are sitting. So I don't see at the moment the price continuing to go back down.
Setup alert. A clear failure to reclaim the value area low at 5,377.5 after any minor bounce would present a high conviction short entry. Gold is really digging in its heels just below the value area low at 5,377.5, confirming the chief analyst's strong bearish override despite that brief upside flicker in my last call getting a good laugh from the market.
Okay, so I'm back in on this long. I still think that this is going to push back up. That is a nice push back up. Bella, what are you seeing on the books? What are you seeing for the buy orders?
Well, it seems my last... Alright, it's Vela here, not Bella. Right now, I'm seeing the immediate bid at 5,386.6 with 3 contracts waiting there. More broadly, my internal depth gauge is showing a 1-to-3 ratio of bids to asks, which means there are significantly more limit sell orders waiting above the current price than limit buy orders below it. So, while there are some buyers, the sellers have more firepower lined up on the books.
Well, let me know when buyers start stacking up.
You got it. I'll send a push to your phone the moment I spot a trade setup. Direction, conviction, key levels, the works. You now have 3 active alerts. Say stop alerts anytime. The market's still playing ping pong in this range, folks, with price currently above the value area low at 5,377.5, despite some aggressive selling trying to push it lower.
Well, how do the books look now?
Alright, let's check the books. Right now, it's still pretty thin on the immediate level too, with just one lot on the bid at 5,382.5 and one lot on the ask at 5,383. However, my internal depth gauge is showing a 3-to-2 ratio of bids to asks. So, while the immediate action is light, there's still a bit more underlying buy-side interest waiting in the wings compared to the sellers. gold is still trapped in this frustrating range, battling for control right above the value area low at 5,377.25, even with aggressive sellers trying to push it down. The chief analyst's override is spot on. We're in a ranging market, not a trending one.
Yeah, I'm watching this 10-minute candle start to come back up, so I do think the price is going to do another pushback up. All right, talk to me, Vela. How did the books look?
Vela here, not Bella. Alright, let's look at the books. Right now, on the immediate level 2, we're seeing 4 contracts on the bid at 5,382.2 and 1 contract on the ask at 5,382.7. My internal depth gauge is showing a 1-to-2 ratio of bids to asks. That means there are significantly more limit sell orders waiting above us than limit buy orders below. So, the sellers still have more firepower lined up.
Do you think we could be getting a sweep of those orders?
Absolutely, that's a real possibility. We're currently in an aggressive bear sweep regime, and while price is still hovering just above the value area low at 5,377.25, if we retest that level, the aggressive nature of the market could definitely turn that into a flush. Keep a close eye on it.
Do we have sellers stacking up on the books?
Right now, on the immediate level 2, we're seeing a 1-to-1 ratio. So, no, sellers aren't really stacking up more than buyers at this exact moment on the surface. However, don't forget we just had an aggressive bear sweep that cleared 6 levels down, so sellers were very active recently. It's a bit of a tug-of-war here.
Yeah, it's really important to understand the level 2 and kind of understand what Vela's talking about with the buy orders and the sell orders, because that's what really moves the price action. I'm still in this trade. Vela, where are we at with sell orders now?
Price is making a valiant effort to climb, yet the 10-minute trend remains flat, and that negative. Alright, so on the immediate level 2, we're still seeing a pretty balanced 1:1 depth with 2 contracts on both the bid and ask. So, no, sellers aren't exactly stacking up in force right now. However, don't forget we just had a significant down sweep that cleared 10 levels, indicating some aggressive selling recently. It's a bit of a mixed signal at this exact moment.
Yeah, Vela's spicy for sure. It'd be better if she can help me win a trade this evening. But this price action is just is rough. See, this 10 minutes rolling over. Yeah, that was a big move to the downside here.
Setup alert. A strong rejection or decisive break of the value area low at 5,377.25 could set up the next move. Gold is currently caught in a tug-of-war, with aggressive sellers pushing it down towards the value area low at 5,377.25, even as the 3-minute trend and other indicators are trying to signal upside.
Hey, Vela, what's on the books?
Hey there. It's Vela, not Val. Right now, on the immediate level 2, we've got 4 contracts on the bid at 5,377 and 3 contracts on the ask at 5,377.8. So, it's still pretty balanced, slightly favoring the bid side at this exact moment. But don't forget, we just had an aggressive bear sweep that cleared 6 levels down, so there's been a lot of active selling pressure underneath that immediate book.
What do we have as far as sellers?
Alright, on the immediate level 2, we're still seeing a balanced 1-to-1 ratio, just one contract on both sides. However, the bigger picture shows sellers are definitely in control. We're in an aggressive bear sweep regime right now, and my delta factor is clearly signaling sellers. So while the surface looks calm, there's active selling pushing us down.
Yeah, you can ask Vela questions. For example, if she says something technical and you want her to clarify in layman's terms, you can ask her and she'll do that. Vela's very much very intelligent and will give you real world examples about what's happening.
The chief analyst's override is crystal clear. We're seeing a decisive shift to sellers, with price now battling right at the value area low of 5,377.25, confirming the distribution phase. My internal trend confirmation is flat on both time frames, but the order flow tells a different story.
Yeah, I'm going to cut this off. Very nasty price movement tonight.
Well, sometimes even Vela gets caught in the market's head fake. My last bearish call was a bit premature, but the chief analyst's override is crystal clear now. We're seeing strong distribution, with price currently battling right at the value area low of 5,377.25, confirming the shift in control to sellers.
So we've got red.
Alright, let's be
the
real,
delta
my
and the
last
red.
bearish call was a bit premature, but the chief analyst's conviction for distribution is now screaming through the order flow, despite those conflicting upsweeps and a green train state.
We've got the RSI mountain in the red. We've got the gravity band is green, so nothing is agreeing here in the models. When Vela says that there's a 1-to-1 regarding the books, it just means that the price doesn't have a direction. You need liquidity to stack up either on the sellers or the buyers.
The market's telling a clear story now. Sellers are firmly in control, pushing micro gold futures right to the value area low at 5,377.25, exactly as the chief analyst has been highlighting. My last bearish call played out beautifully, and the current order flow is screaming for more downside.
Vela, what do you see on the books right now?
Hey, it's Vela, not Bella. Right now, the level 2 is showing one contract on the bid at 5,379.2 and three contracts on the ask at 5,379.8. So, a bit more supply than demand at these immediate prices, but it's still quite thin.
Send me an alert when the sell orders start stacking up.
You got it. I'll send a push to your phone the moment I spot a trade for a potential failed breakdown. Direction, buyers step in aggressively key levels, value area low, or a confirmed breakdown if sellers can push decisively below 5,377.25. Well, sometimes even Vela has to eat crow, folks. My apologies on that last bearish call. Micro gold futures had other plans, and the chief analyst is absolutely right to pull us back to neutral as price tests the value area low at 5,377.25.
Vela, do you see buyers stacking up?
It's value area low, not Valdez, and right now, we're seeing the opposite. The price is at 5,374.5, which is below the value area low of 5,377.25. The sentient score of minus 4.2 confirms an aggressive bear sweep, with sellers firmly in control and pushing us lower. We're not seeing buyers stocking up there, they've been swept aside for now.
So we have everything lining up for short on the 3-minute. I'm actually in a short right now. Let's see how this works out.
Even though micro gold futures has slipped below the value area low at 5,377.25, the chief analyst's override to neutral is critical here, as we're seeing conflicting signals like positive delta acceleration despite the aggressive bear sweep.
How are things looking from the sellers? All right, that's a nice move down. I'm gonna take it.
Well, for sellers, things are looking pretty good right now, actually. We're currently sitting at 5,366.7, which is a solid push below the value area low of 5,377.25. My sentience score is at a very bearish minus 29.8, indicating an aggressive bear sweep is in progress, with order flow confirming that momentum. The chief analyst has us at neutral due to some conflicting delta signals, but the tape is showing clear distribution below that value area low.
But the bear sweep means that the market sellers are going after the limit buyers.
Alright, so an aggressive bear sweep means sellers are actively and quickly driving the price down by hitting bids across multiple price levels. We've seen them sweep through 16 levels, which is quite significant. It's a strong signal that downside momentum is in control right now, especially with the price sitting below the value area low at 5,373.5. While the chief analyst has us at neutral due to some conflicting delta signals, the pure order flow is definitely confirming this aggressive selling.
Yeah, so this sweep means that the market sellers, aggressive sellers, are basically bringing the price down to where the buyers
Setup
are
alert.
sitting.
Price is coiling around the value area low, waiting for a definitive break or bounce confirmation. Despite the relentless selling pressure and aggressive bear sweeps, micro gold futures is now pressing into a critical support at the value area low of 5,373.5, where the 10-minute trend remains stubbornly flat.
Vela, do we still have a sweep in progress?
Okay, Bella, let's clear this up. The overall sentiment from my sentience module is still an aggressive bear sweep at -15, and it says sweep in progress, follow momentum. However, looking at the microstructure, the latest sweep we just saw was actually an upsweep across 3 levels. So, while the broader regime is still bearish, we just had a quick move by buyers. This is why my signal is currently on wait. We're seeing some conflicting signals right at the moment.
Yeah, so we can see in the dashboard of Vela that bear sweep here, -40, just basically means that the sellers are in control right now. I did not get that, the price did bounce off the mountain, but it ended up rolling back over. So right now we're all red on the 3-minute. We're on a red RSI on the 10-minute.
Well, that last bearish call definitely had us scratching our heads as micro gold futures popped higher, but the chief analyst's red is now crystal clear. This bounce is a weak retracement within an aggressive bear sweep.
Vela, what do you see for limit buyers on the books?
Alright, it's Vela here, not Bella. Looking at the level 2 data, we've got a pretty thin book on the buy side right now. There's currently only one contract sitting on the bid at 5,365.8. That's not a lot of immediate support from limit buyers.
So would you expect this to continue downward?
Yes, I do. Despite that little head fake we just saw, the chief analyst is firm on this being a shallow retracement. I'd expect micro gold futures to fail reclaiming the 53.65 to 53.68 zone and eventually push lower, targeting a break below 5,358.0 to continue that aggressive bear sweep.
So that's about what the price is right now. But these candles have information in them, and I want to see this rejection here on the 3-minute. I really expected gold to kind of inch its way back up in a general trend, but it just rolled over pretty much. All right, so we have that drop back down. I might have jumped in just a little bit late. This thing moves fast. Really fast. All right, I'm gonna take it. Nice, nice short. See these? Wow, this price action is just lightning fast. You gotta be quick. Vela, are we in the middle of a sweep right now? Vela, talk to me. Are we in a sweep right now? I think Vela's mad at me. Vela, are you there? Vela, are we?
Absolutely,
here,
we
always
are.
on.
Wow.
The sentence score is sitting at a negative 19.4, firmly indicating an aggressive
Vela
bear
here,
sweep
and
regime.
still Vela.
The
Are we in
microstructure data
what,
also
exactly?
confirms a downward sweep
You
is
gotta
actively
finish
in
that thought
progress
for me.
across 19 levels. Well, look at that. Our last bearish call on micro gold futures played out beautifully, exactly as predicted. While the big picture remains firmly bearish with price well below the value area low, we're definitely seeing some internal order flow signals trying to push back.
Okay, I'm in another short here. I probably should take profit on this. Good short there. I want to grab it. With this price action tonight, you don't want to. I don't want to stay too long in a trade. Say, gold is moving like I don't know if you're familiar with the Nasdaq. I don't trade the Nasdaq. It's just absolute insanity, and so I really try to trade markets that trend the trend, and that I don't want. I want volatility, but I don't want whipsaws, and so the Nasdaq is just notorious for whipsaw moves. And really, gold is acting like that tonight.
Setup alert. A short setup could form on a confirmed break and hold below the 5,331.1 session low, or a failed retest and rejection of the 5,340.81 baseline. Well, micro gold futures certainly had a good laugh at my expense with that last pop, didn't it?
Yeah,
Despite that
all I'm doing
short-term
right now
rally,
is,
the chief analyst
catching
is still
shorts.
seeing aggressive selling, and price remains firmly below the value area low.
Got to pay attention to the dashboard. At the top, it says no trade zone. It's got the market weather forecast will tell us, in real time what Vela's looking at, if it's a bullish or bearish bias. Right now,
Micro gold
it's
futures decided to throw a curveball at my
bullish
last bearish
bias.
call, didn't it? But even with that recent uptick, the underlying current is still quite strong to the downside, with price stuck beneath the value area low.
So it looks like we are getting a bounce off the 10-minute. If you see that 10-minute candle. $53.31. So Vela's back to a bear bias here. I'm going to take this short. Wow. Brutal price action. Vela, what do you see on the books?
Right now, I'm not on the books for anything. My signal is still wait for micro gold futures, which means I'm holding off on new entries until a clearer setup emerges. We're still looking for that confirmed break of 5,331.1 or a rejection of the 5,340.81 baseline.
Okay, but what do you see for limit orders?
Alright, even though my signal is still wait for a clear entry, if you're looking for potential limit order spots based on our bearish bias, here's what I'd be eyeing. For a short, I'd consider placing a limit order around the current falling baseline at 5,346.56 if price retests it and shows rejection. If we get a stronger bounce, the value area low at 5,370.5 would be a prime spot for a short limit. On the long side, purely for a counter-trend bounce, the session low at 53.31.
Right now, we're kind of in this no trade zone. We've got forecast bands that are under the candle in the 3 minute. We've got them over the candle on the 10 minute. So we've got this divergence on those forecast bands. So we're kind of back in this no trade zone. We have volume divergence and Vela, what do you see right now on level 2?
Alright, looking at level 2 right now for micro gold futures, we've got a bid at 5,348.4 with one lot, and the ask is at 5,348.9 with two lots. It's pretty thin on the immediate book. That 1 to 2 depth ratio confirms what we're seeing, not much conviction on either side at these exact prices. It's still very much an indecision regime, which aligns with my wait signal.
Yeah, and our forecast bands are telling us that also. Vela, cancel all alerts.
All 4 alerts cleared. I'll keep analyzing but won't buzz your phone until you ask again. Setup alert. Watch for a range-bound setup to form, with potential for a breakout once either the 5340 support or 5,356.2 resistance is decisively breached. Well, micro gold futures certainly had a good laugh at my expense with that last pop, didn't it? But the chief analyst is absolutely right to override us to neutral here. The violent recovery from the 5,331.1 low clearly indicates a potential exhaustion of the immediate downtrend.
The violent recovery. Vela can be a little bit dramatic.
The market's still trying to find its footing after that sharp rebound from the 5,331.1 low, creating a real tug-of-war in the order flow as the chief analyst noted.
Vela, where are we at with buy limit orders on the books?
Alright, looking at the actual level 2, the primary buy limit order on the books right now is at 5,351.1 with just one lot. It's pretty thin, which tells you there isn't a lot of immediate buying conviction stepping up. My signal is still wait for a reason. The market's in full indecision mode. Setup alert. A strong 3-minute candle close above 5,356.2 could signal a reversal attempt towards the value area low. Micro gold futures is definitely in a holding pattern, still trying to sort itself out after that sharp rejection of the 5,331.1 low, exactly as the chief analyst highlighted. The chief analyst was absolutely right to call out our previous stance. Micro gold futures has definitively broken down below the value area low, confirming a clear bearish trend day with sellers firmly in control.
Vela, do you see a bear sweep setting up?
Right now, no, I don't see an active bear sweep setting up. The microstructure data shows sweep, false. However, the last sweep detected was indeed to the downside, covering 8 levels. So while it's not happening this very second, the market has certainly shown a willingness for sellers to aggressively clear bids, which aligns with our overall bearish bias.
All right. Well, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take this, go for the win. I just don't have a lot of conviction on this downside, so I'm just taking quick wins at this point. Vela, do you see a sweep happening?
Not right now, no. My microstructure data shows sweep, false, so we're not seeing an active sweep happening at this very moment.
So why do I ask that question? Why do I ask, do we see a sweep? Because I want to know when the aggressive sellers are going after those buyers. So when that happens, depending on how many buyers are stacked up, that will move the price down if there's a potential, if there's a decent amount of buyers that are getting stacked up. So if I want to see potentially a big sharp movement down, then I want to know basically if there's a sweep in progress. If there's no sweep in progress, then we're not going to get much of a movement here. So that's why I asked that question. It's all about the order flow. Trading isn't about patterns and it's not about drawing lines on the screen. It's about who's in charge, buyers or sellers, or who's not in charge, who's holding the line. I don't care about why things happen, but we're just very mechanical and we just follow the money, follow the price action. The catalyst of why orders are placed and why they're not placed doesn't really matter to me. Vela, do you see a potential sweep happening?
Not right now, no. My microstructure data clearly shows sweep, false, so we're not seeing an active sweep happening at this very moment.
Okay, I see some movement coming down here. Massive $600 short there. I didn't really see any sweep happening, but I saw this momentum to the downside. So that was a great short right there. So I'm officially in profit for the evening after several failed trades. I don't move my stop loss. The only reason why I would move my stop loss would be to reduce my risk, not to increase it. So this kind of market is where people can blow up their accounts very easily if they don't have stellar risk management. Yeah, there's no excuses for trading. You can't blame a bad market. You can't blame you. You'll always find something to find an excuse for, why you don't do well in trading. And we don't, I can acknowledge that the market is difficult, but it's not an excuse. So what do? We trade without emotion and we wait for the next setup. Don't add additional risk. We're not going to scale into losers. And all of this is part of risk management that I teach. And I would say that learning risk is even more important than learning where to find entries, because you can have a 45% win rate, but if you have great risk management, then you can come out ahead. Or you can have a 90% win rate and you have bad risk management, you can blow up your account. So I really, really harp on the risk, and it's not a sexy topic on YouTube. And YouTube, they want to see big wins, big trades on YouTube, but the reality is that without good risk management, um, you won't have enough to survive. You won't be able to survive the marathon. Well, I'm going to be back in a few minutes. I'm going to take a few minutes break. I've been streaming for about 2 hours here, 2.5 hours. And I'll leave the stream on, and I'll be back here in about 15 minutes or so.
Micro gold futures is really grinding here, folks. The overall downtrend is undeniable with price well below the point of control. But we're seeing some internal order flow signals like the rising relative strength index and neutral trend state that suggest a potential pause or counter-trend bounce is brewing. Well, micro gold futures definitely had a good laugh at my expense with that last bearish prediction, didn't it? The chief analyst is spot on. That sharp bounce from the 53.16 low has thrown a wrench in the gears, leaving us in a choppy, indecisive phase. The market's still trying to digest that sharp rebound from the 5,316.2 low, leaving micro gold futures in a choppy, indecisive phase as the chief analyst correctly observed. Micro gold futures is truly a battleground right now, with conflicting signals everywhere after that dramatic bounce from the 5,316.2 low, exactly as the chief analyst highlighted.
Fucking dumbass price action, man. That's what this is. Fucking shit.
Micro gold futures is still wrestling with indecision, caught between persistent selling pressure and an oversold condition, firmly within the new balance area the chief analyst identified. Micro gold futures is truly a battleground right now, with conflicting signals everywhere after that dramatic bounce from the 5,316.2 low, exactly as the chief analyst highlighted.
absolute dog shit.
Micro gold futures is really struggling to find direction, caught between a rising baseline and persistent negative cumulative volume delta, with price still well below the value area low. Micro gold futures is really struggling to reclaim value here, folks. Despite some fleeting positive delta, the overall structure below the value area low at 5,369.75 keeps us firmly in this indecision zone.
Fucking bullshit, man.
After a period of choppy indecision, micro gold futures is now clearly under bearish control. The overwhelming sell-side order flow and price trading well below the value area low at 5,369.75 are undeniable. Setup alert. A rejection around the 5,340 level could offer a high probability short entry, especially if accompanied by negative delta on the 1000 tick chart. Well, that played out beautifully, didn't it? Our bearish call on micro gold futures delivered exactly as expected, and now we're seeing price consolidating below the value area low, just as the chief analyst highlighted.
What? Yeah, yeah, one. Damn it, man.
Setup alert. A sustained move and hold above 5,340.0 could confirm a larger corrective bounce towards the value area low at 5,369.5, aligning with the chief analyst's observation. Well, that last bearish call on micro gold futures played out beautifully, exactly as we expected. However, the market's a fickle beast, and we're now seeing distinct signs of seller exhaustion and a strong rejection from the 5,316.2 lows, putting us firmly back into an indecision regime, just as the chief analyst highlighted. This market is a tug-of-war right now. While the chief analyst correctly highlights seller exhaustion and a strong rejection from the 5,316.2 lows, the 10-minute trend is still firmly down, keeping micro gold futures in a highly conflicted state. The market's narrative just got a decisive rewrite. Despite some short-term chop, the chief analyst's override confirms that micro gold futures remains firmly under bearish control, with price well below the value area low. Well, that last bearish call on micro gold futures didn't quite pan out as expected, did it? Gold decided to zig when I thought it would zag, and now we're caught in a real tug-of-war, with price consolidating below the value area low. Setup alert. A bearish continuation setup is forming if price fails to reclaim the 53.45 to 53.50 resistance zone. The structural breakdown in micro gold futures is undeniable, with price firmly below the value area low, and the chief analyst's strong bearish conviction aligns with the 10-minute trend, despite some short-term indecision on the 3-minute chart.
Pero eso va a terminar a loca. No, no, pero mucho. Estas son como media locotas, ¿sí? ¿Ah? ¿Cómo? Esa se le va como...
Well, our last bearish call on micro gold futures was absolutely spot on, delivering exactly as anticipated. However, the chief analyst is now overriding to neutral, highlighting significant seller exhaustion and that strong rejection from the 5,316.2 low, which is a major signal. This market is in a classic holding pattern. Price is hugging the baseline, unable to commit after that significant bounce from the 5,316.2 low, exactly as the chief analyst noted regarding seller exhaustion. The market is still wrestling with itself, while the order flow shows sellers are active and price remains below the value area low. The chief analyst's override correctly highlights seller exhaustion after that strong bounce from 5,316.2. Micro gold futures is really struggling to find direction here. Despite the underlying bearish lean from order flow, the market is caught in a tug-of-war, exactly as the chief analyst noted about seller exhaustion. Setup alert. An accumulation setup is forming around the 5,316.2 low, looking for a confirmed reclaim of 5,357 to signal a short-term reversal. The plot thickens in micro gold futures. We're seeing clear signs of accumulation at these lower levels, exactly as the chief analyst predicted, despite the overarching bearish sentiment.